Hi guys, it's Angie Beth, My Fairy Treasures. Okay, I'm coming around. Just a second, guys. Let me move my dog bowl of water out of the way before I, tip it over. Anyway, okay, you guys, I want to do a video today on tips on helping you to identify vintage Big E Levi's. And usually the ones you're looking for are 501s. That seems to be what really sells good on eBay. So I went to I don't know, 3 or 4 websites, and I started reading how to identify these vintage Big E Levi's. And let me tell you this, because some people are probably like, what the heck's a Big E? I'm going to explain what that is. But why are we trying to identify these Levi's? Especially if you're going to resell them on eBay or wherever you resell on. Because they are worth, on eBay, $500 to $1,500. So, especially if you're at the bins, I feel like the bins is the place that you're going to find these Levi's, or at a garage sale. Because these are Levi's that are old, that have been in somebody's closet or passed down from somebody, especially if you've gotten some from 1920 or something. I mean, I don't even know how you would get those, but anyway, I feel like that's the place you're going to find them. Or in a thrift store, too. In 2001, this was an interesting fact. In 2001, a vintage pair of Levi's sold for, on eBay, you guys, for $46,542. Guess who bought them? Levi Strauss themselves. To put, in their archives. They didn't have that pair in their archives. I don't know why, but they didn't, and they paid $46,542 on eBay. Oh my God. Awesome. Just incredibly, incredibly awesome. Anyway, so I wanted to share those. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to share with you guys. Another good fact about Levi's, they've been producing Levi's since 1873. Can you imagine if you found a pair, if you somehow found a pair of jeans that still were together enough? They were from 1873. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I wonder how old the ones were that sold for $46,000. It didn't say how old they were, but I wonder. Okay, so I think, is that it? That was just a couple of quick fun facts. Okay, let's explain. What is vintage Big E Levi's? Okay. And like I said, on eBay, most of the time, the ones that are worth money are the 501s. So I believe 501s is what you're looking for. If I'm incorrect and there are other types of jeans of Levi's, let me know. And let me say that I am not the expert at identifying Levi's. I don't know all. It's a big game. The jeans is a big game. The Levi's are a big game. So I'm just sharing you guys the tips and information that I researched out and came up with. If you guys see anything that you guys feel like is a little bit different than the information I'm giving, leave a comment below. We're all here to learn for sure. So anyway, let's go on with this. Big E tag, okay? The Big E tag is this right here. There's a little red tag on the jeans. And if they're vintage, the E, and it's hard for you guys to see, but I'm going to try to do my best. See the little red tag right here? You can barely see it, okay? The E on there cannot be small. The E has to be a big E. So it has to be big L, big E, big V-I-S. On these ones, these aren't the big E's because it's a small E. Okay, so we already know these aren't the Big E jeans. I don't have any Big E's. I check all mine. But that's one thing you need to check for. And, next thing, you guys might want to get a pad and paper and just write this stuff down, because this is good information to know. So when you get home, buy Levi's, period. They're always worth money. But then you can get home and kind of check your notes and see if you ever get a pair of these. This would be awesome. The other thing, I lost my train of thought there. Anyway, let's continue on. Jeez. Okay, so that's, and then so the Big E tag started in 1936, okay? Prior to 1936, there was no red tag, okay? So if you have a pair of Levi's that have no red tag, that could be good too, because that could mean that they were before 1936. And remember, they started in 1873. Okay. Oh, this is another thing about this little red tag. Okay, because back then it was made of something else. I don't know what the fabric was, but it would be really super curled up. Like you couldn't even barely read it. Like you'd have to really pull it out. Like now, this one just pulls out by itself. It's already out. I can totally read it. But it'd be really curled up. That's another way to tell. After you have the big L, big E, big V, and big I. On my jeans, I have a big L, a little E, B-I-S. But the E is the main thing that has to be big. Okay? And on this one, it's small. Okay. Okay. Right here, it says the number on the back top of the button will have a single digit or letter. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about here. Okay, here's my top button. Okay, right here on the back of the top button, it needs to be right here. It needs to either be the number stamped on the back, number 6, number 5, or number 2 for it to be a vintage jean, or a W, or left blank. If it's left blank, it has punch marks on it. Mine doesn't have any letters or numbers on it. Like my glasses, I just got these from HSN. I thought they were cute. But more importantly, I can see. Okay, on the back of mine, oh wait, there is a number. Just a second, guys. So hard to read. Okay, mine has F10. So mine's F10. So you directly know that those are newer jeans and those have nothing to do with vintage, okay? Because vintage, write this down, either have on the back top button, have either 6, 5, 2, or a W, or blank, but then it has some punch marks on it, okay? It does say here that new Levi's have 501 or 555 stamped on the back. So sometimes just that, but mine had a whole nother number, so. Okay, there's another thing called the V-stitch on the fly. And it's hard for me to explain what the V-stitch is, so what I'm going to do, and it's on the fly, so it would be, I'm trying to see where, I feel like this one doesn't have that V-stitch, because I'm not seeing it. Because it's supposed to go, I think it's back here on the fly, and it's supposed to be located right in through here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you guys a website that I checked out that has a picture of it, so you guys can see for yourself, because it's something you really got to see. Okay. Rear patch. It's on the right. And the reason that you always want to check this is because people, there are ones that are fakes. Okay. And so that's why it's important. Make sure your patch is on the right side. So this patch is on the right side when it faces me. The other thing about this patch is it cannot be, if it's a really thick, patch, like feels like leather, that's a fake. That's actually a fake Levi and not vintage. This is almost like paper, like a thick paper. So these are probably definitely Levi's. That's a big telltale sign about the patch. There was something else here, you guys, a second. Okay, it says right here, in the 1930s, the patch has a jerk look to it. I don't know what jerk look means, but it probably looks really, I guess, jerky, looking like it's not even like anything. So, that's another telltale sign if it's a vintage one, okay? And if there's a white patch on the back of Levi's, like when we go check these Levi's out at different thrift stores and stuff, if there's any type of a white patch, and I have seen some like that, those are fake, okay? There are no white patches or real light, like they're almost white. No, they're always like something like this color. Rear buckles. Okay, these don't have a rear buckle, but in the back, like in the, what year is it, 1930s, they had a buckle back here. An actual whole thing where there was a buckle, and I guess it was there to tighten up the jeans, I guess. So in the 1930s, they had that. So if you ever get a pair of Levi's that have that buckle, that's a good telltale sign that it was from the 1930s. Very exciting if you ever find those. Okay, and you guys, I took notes, okay? I got like 3 pages of notes. Inseam. Single stitch running down the inner thigh. It means produced earlier. Okay. These are already not produced earlier because, you know, there have been some other things already that they're not. But, oh, well, the number on the button told me that too. They're not vintage. But what I thought was interesting is it does have a single stitch. But the single stitch doesn't necessarily mean that it's vintage. But, oh, the vintage ones did have a single stitch. And this one has a single stitch. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, there was a care tag added in 1970 to 1985. So if you have a care tag in yours, your jeans could be from 1970 to 1985. And, you know, you have something in the 80s, that's still considered vintage. They're just not as, like, you know, as, they may be worth $100 or something, maybe a little less. But they're not like $500 to $1,000. So these ones don't have a care tag in them. These are making me wonder. Let me just look really quick again at my button. Make sure of what it says here. 1 second, guys. Just looking at that. What did I say for the numbers? Yeah. Okay. And that's a very telltale sign, they said. When you look at that top button and you look at the back of it here, that's a telltale sign. It needs to have a 652W or a blank with some punch marks. So yeah, these aren't. But there is no care tag in here. So, okay. Like I said, the care tag started in the 1970s through to the 1980s. Oh, okay, started in the 1970s. 1985, you'll know if your jeans are from 85 because there'll be a plain white tag with dark blue writing. And instructions will read, shrinks about 10%. After 1985, the care tag was white with red writing and it has a Levi's logo at the top. Okay, so I don't have a care tag at all. Okay, there's no care tag in here. But if there was a care tag, like I said, you guys heard what I said. If it's 1985, it'll be white with red writing, and it'll say shrink to fit. If it's 1985 and after, there'll be a care tag, and it will be white with red writing, and it will have the Levi's logo, and that's inside the jeans. Okay, which I don't have those in here. Okay. These are different ways to identify how old your jeans are, too. So either it's to identify how old your jeans are. These are things to identify if your jeans are fakes or not, your Levi's are fakes or not, and if they're vintage. Okay. So we got all kind of information. And like I said, the older Levi's don't have a care tag at all. Now, we can almost think that my Levi's right here, because they don't have a care tag, could be older. But I don't think so, because obviously that button is a telltale sign in the back. They don't have those certain letters or certain numbers or blank with the punch. So, okay, right here, let's see. Okay, there's a, it says back pockets have two wide arcs joined together in the middle. I'm going to show you guys that in just a second. Similar as a heart at the top of the pants. Similar as a heart at the top part of a heart. You know how a heart goes like this? Okay, it's really deep on the vintage Levi's. Okay, so they're saying that the arc was a lot more shallow. So because these are probably newer, I guess that's what a shallow arc looks like. See the arc right here on the jeans? That's the arc. And I believe it was just much deeper than that even. which that looks kind of deep to me, but it must have been even deeper than that because these aren't old. These aren't vintage. But anyway, that's what you're looking for, that arc there, and you're looking for it to be pretty deep, okay? And that's an example of a shallow one, I believe. So, okay. Next. Okay, I'm just looking to see what else. Something about rivets. Okay, hidden rivets. That's another thing you need to look for vintage Levi's. Look inside the jeans, behind the pockets for flat metal backs. That's another telltale sign that these jeans are not vintage. Okay, here's your pockets right there. Behind the pockets, there would be some rivets. Okay, right here, behind these pockets, there'd be some rivets, and they'd have a flat head on them. They'd just be like a little small silver, round, flat head, okay? And they would be back here, and this has no rivets at all back there. So that's another telltale sign that these aren't vintage. And sometimes, like these Levi's, sometimes you'll have a few things that were the vintage signs that they are vintage. But if you have way more signs that go against it, you know you don't have them. Like here, I had a couple things that seemed like they could be vintage, but most of the stuff has not been. So, Salvaged Edge. Okay, this I had to keep going over and over and over because I was getting confused. Okay, this is what a Salvaged Edge is. You and this really is a telltale sign of your Levi's. Okay, take your Levi's, turn them inside out, the cuffs. It's how this part right here, if this wasn't a salvaged edge, it would be fraying all over the place. Okay, so Levi's always had a salvaged edge, but it's the color of the thread. If it's red, let me get the dates on here. Okay, if the salvaged edge here was white, you'll have a white stitch right here. Those are like the older jeans, okay? A lot older. If it's red, those jeans aren't quite as old, but they're still vintage. It's just if it's white, it's older, it's earlier, like way earlier. If it's red, it's a little bit later, but they're still vintage. So you're looking for white or red. These right here, you guys can see it. This looks like very today's machine stitching, okay? And I looked all this up. I looked at the red so I could see the red selvage, like the red stitching on the selvage. I looked up so I could see the white stitching on the selvage, and then today's, and this is what today's looks like. It's just, you guys can tell it's done on our machines of today. But before, you would see a red stitch right here or a white stitch. If you see a white stitch right there, then it's like an older pair of vintage Levi's, and if you see a red, it's a little newer vintage. They're still vintage though, okay? Oh my gosh, you guys, I have gone through all this information already. That's crazy. One more thing. You're talking about this bar tack. It says the bar tacks are at the corners of the pockets, using extra thread to reinforce a thicker fabric denim. Jeans that have this are 20 years or older. Okay. And I was looking at these, and to me they have that. So at the edges of your jeans, they said that they have bar tacks on them if they're older, like right there. Hope you guys are seeing this, like right there. And to me, this looks like these were bar tack because there's extra thread and extra sewing right here in the corners. So, you guys, you know, I don't think these jeans are brand new. I mean, they're not vintage, but there's some signs on here that these could be, you know, maybe from the early 90s or something like that. Maybe late 80s or something like that. So I'm going to find out, because I can tell you this though, these when I looked at the comps on these jeans though, they're going for about $34.95. So good deal. Very good deal. So you guys pick up Levi's, because different Levi's, depending on 501s, whatever it is, and different types of Levi's are worth different levels of money. So just be picking up Levi's all the time. People always, what's the #1 selling jean in America? Levi's. People love them. and they know exactly which ones fit them well. They know 501s fit them well. They know whatever the number is, they know which ones fit them well, and they're always looking for them. And these ones I could do, like I said, ask $34.95 for. So that's pretty cool. Okay, you guys, I think that's it. This went a lot quicker than I thought it was. I thought I would be talking forever about this, but that went pretty quick. Okay, you guys, like I said, I am not an expert on this whole thing. I just did some research because I want to know if I want to know, have some telltale signs if I have any of these vintage Big E Levi's, okay, 501s. I want to know. So, and I want some information so that I can, you know, compare my Levi's to this information that I have collected. And I would, if you get some and it passes all these tests, I would do some further research, because from there you need to figure out really what era was from, okay? Because look, they started all the way making these, what did I say, in 1873? I mean, geez. So you need to figure it out, because then you'll know exactly how much your jeans could be worth, you know? So, that's it, you guys. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to add to this information, because we are all learning. This is, like I said, the jeans game, period's a big game. The Levi's game is a big game. eBay's a big game. So, you know, none of us are experts, but we can all help each other. So leave any comments, anything you think that I said that you didn't agree with, go ahead and put it down there and let me know. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love for you to do so. If you give this video a thumbs up, that'd be awesome. If you could share my channel with a friend, that would be great. Also, join me on Instagram. I'm My Fairy Treasures. I'll have that information below. I'm on Snapchat too. If you don't have Snapchat, get Snapchat. You guys, it's really cool because it's like you can make like YouTube videos, but your videos can be not as long as a YouTube video, but not as short as Instagram. So you can make longer videos on there. So it's pretty cool. And I want to start making some videos on there. So I'm trying to get my Snapchat up and going. So go there and join. If you don't have a Snapchat, get a Snapchat. It's the next big thing. And I think that's it, guys. Yeah, that's it. Okay, you guys. I will talk to you guys in the next video, and be looking out for those vintage Big E jeans, Levi's. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.